Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations on Data. I'm your host, Havish Madhupati. I'm delighted to have with me today Ankit Nigam, who is the National Head, Automotive Roadside Assistance Network for Allianz Partners. Prior to this, he was the Regional Sales and Marketing Head for Exide Industries, and he has also had stints with Suzuki Motorcycle as the Regional Manager for After Sales and as the Country Manager After Sales for Hero MotoCorp. Hi, Ankit. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Avish. Thank you. Thank you for giving this opportunity to speak. My pleasure.
Okay, so to begin with, tell us about your current role and your corporate journey so far.
So I start with my corporate journey and then cover to my current role. So it's been 16 years in the professional career. I started my first job in the year 2006, and no hunky dory. It was very small start for me, but maybe for others, not for me. To be very correct on myself, because first job is something which is desirable, right? So I started my first job on a very ground level, you can say executive, where I was into kind of a sales, and then progressing over a period of time, moving on to certain stages. I worked initially with ABB channel partner. They were into installation and commissioning of, you can say, variable frequency. My job role was to automate the entire industry from a single click of button, be it sugar industry or mill, cement and all. Move on to auto. My first, I can say my first job related to the auto industry was in the year 2007. My first switch from ABB channel partner to the organized world of professions. I started my career as a service engineer in Exide at that time, then move on to Amron, that is Amra Raja Batteries Limited, taking care of a bigger territory region from Lucknow, Varanasi, then to Jaipur, taking care of Rajasthan, and then on a pure, you can say, automobile. I started my career from year 2009 when I joined Hero. At that time, it was Hero Honda, and I was based out of Jaipur at that time, working as a territory service manager there. Rajasthan. Then within this period of Hero, I got transferred to a certain different role from first start with sales, then to service engineer. Then I got internal job opportunity and I moved from Rajasthan to back to Lucknow. That is my hometown. I started working as a learning manager there. I was having at that time responsibility of imparting the technical trainings to the entire dealer network workshop staff of UP and Uttarakhand. And in the year 2012, somewhere 12 or end of 12, within Hero, I again got the opportunity to switch on another bigger role. And at that time, when Hero Honda becomes Hero, so it was a quite new things were happening within the organization, and people were getting or identified for a new roles for export markets. And there I opted and I moved to Delhi corporate office in the year 2012 and joined then Hero MotoCorp again for their export business, that is for global business. And I worked there since well till 2017. Set up markets in Bangladesh, Myanmar. It was very good learning experience. We must speak if we get some time on this. And then 2017, somewhat I started feeling to get back into domestic market. There are certain phases of life when you start prioritizing things accordingly. And 2017 was the year when I realized that my priority has to be back in India. Some time to give to family and then balancing out the professional career. So 2017, I came back to the domestic market and I joined Suzuki Motorcycles for a not for a very long period. I'll definitely share the reason of not able to stick to a longer duration at that moment. And then I moved to a pure sales profile again, back in Exide. So I started my career somewhat from Exide as a service engineer, and now I'm getting the opportunity to join back Exide as a regional sales and marketing head for UP and Uttarakhand. So it was a good, big opportunity for me coming back from managing the entire country as a country manager in Hero MotoCorp of Bangladesh and Myanmar, and then to Exide. So I spent 1 year in hardcore sale then, selling batteries here and there, everywhere, achieve targets and numbers. Then in year 2000, at the end of 18 and the beginning of 19, you can say November, December, something like, I joined Allianz. So currently my job role is with Allianz. I'm working here from last 4 years. I'm into a kind of after sales automobile network and heading the pan India operations and setting up the entire ground teams. So this is my professional career or professional journey of 16 years. By education, I'm an engineer. I have done or completed my electrical engineer, but I think I have applied that electrical knowledge, that book knowledge. Definitely the knowledge are always there, but specific book knowledge for which the degree I got is for the very first 6 months of my job, that is with ABB channel partners, where I was into hardcore electrical engineer kind of job. But after that, I'm purely into automobile and a mix of experience of sales and service. That is how things are.
Right. Ankit, you mentioned sales and service, right? So I will just share something with you, which my previous guest told me. So I had Aditya, who is a visiting faculty at MICA. He has done his engineering from Purdue. He was in the US. Then when the recession happened, he came back to India. And he's on the panel of MICA, so when MICA being one of the top business schools. And we were discussing about analytics, that is his area. And he was on an interview panel and he was sharing with me that students just don't want to get into sales. In fact, he was telling me one instance. He said, there was a girl who came to the interview and said, I don't want sales and I want to become a brand manager. And he said, but don't you understand that even if you become a brand manager, how will you understand what is happening in the market unless you step out? You know what she said, Ankit? And I'm paraphrasing it. She said, I do not want to work with blue collar. I don't want to work with people who are working on the ground. I only want to sit at the corporate office. And, see, it is one thing to joke about it, but then it's a problem, right? Because see, one part is that people don't understand sales very well, right? A lot of wrong people get into sales. Some people who have the right ability and the skill to get into sales do not opt for it, right? So I would just like to ask you, is sales for everyone, or is it only for those people who, have a certain type of personality and, a certain type of ambition?
See, it also depends on what kind of industry you are joining in, right? And what kind of background you are having. For me, I would rather say that I feel the industry which I have been through in automotive industry or something, even though sales matures you, and if in the initial start of career now, if you are into sales, you have to learn, right? In initial phases of the career, whatever education we got in college now, it's there in college only, right? You have only crossed a certain level to apply for a particular job opening. That is there in the mind, right? But when you are coming into the real world, it's very, very dependent on how you individually reacting to the world. And certain percentage of education definitely helps us. But I believe education and the degree will give you or open the doors of certain companies. But sustaining and ensuring the growth within the company, or when you are already there in the playground, it 70 to 80% depends now on how you deal with people. And sales is somewhat make you learn how to manage people. See, if you are doing a very good graduation or MBA or engineering from a very good college, definitely in a year or two, you will start finding, or you will have a desire to lead a team, right? You will definitely not look yourself being an individual player at the ground level or the bottom, you will definitely find yourself to be at the bottom or at least at the mid level within a year, 2 or 3 years. And when you are started putting up steps towards that on a ladder, you'll more and more go towards how you're managing the people. And managing the people, again, going back, I feel if you are having an experience of sales, it helps a lot. And you have the choice of switching the job. If you are the first initial phases, if you are opting sales, you'll get to know about how things are happening on ground. Basic necessary, how vendor managements are happening, how network expansions are happening, what kind of, if you are into customer oriented products, you need to get hardcore facts, what customer is expecting, and only then you will able to give a right feedback and are able to make a right decision. When you are in your career, you'll find out making a decision kind of position, you are having a right call because you have those experience and you have those mind frames. So sales is very important. I believe it's any person who is coming out of MBA or an engineering must have this taste of sale. I agree. Some people are not meant to be in sales for the entire life. Definitely, you have to realize, you have to identify yourself rather than your boss is telling you that you are not a right fit. But as a learning experience, we all do internship, right? Please do more on sales, more on sales. It will help a lot. It will help a lot. And you'll see people management skill will get shined up.
Right. That's a very interesting point, and I think it makes sense for everybody to at least try out sales. And Ankit, let's be honest, once you rise up the ladder, we all have to sell. We might not be selling to a dealer or a distributor, but you have to sell to your bosses and your internal stakeholders. No, if people say that I don't like meeting people and talking to others, and I don't like managing conflict, you have to. Anybody in any company, any CEO of a company has to sell. You cannot say that I am an introvert, I will only remain in my room and take decisions if you don't meet other people.
And why, when you are rising up in the ladder or the hierarchy of the organization, things become tougher. We need to understand. Sometimes what happens now, when you start early and you see at the top that I have to reach, it looks like I only have this big problem. When I reach there, the problems will be lesser or it will be easily manageable. But believe me, it's not like that, because the problems, the intensity of the problem and the people you are going to deal with will be much tougher. Even because at the top level now, you have creams people, right? You yourself reach because you have certain guts and certain USPs, and that is why you are able to reach out there. And parallelly, if you have 3-4 cross-functional head, you must be heading a particular line of business or a function, maybe finance head. Then there must be an IT head also. There must be an operation head also. There must be a sales head also. There must be a marketing head also. All these heads are creams, and they have a lot of experience. And when you are at the top, you need to manage all these people to stand by with you, to agree with your decisions and make them aware, yes, whatever call you are taking up is good for the organization. And believe me, if, as I said earlier, if you are not good at managing people, you will face a hell lot of issues at the top level. And again, this comes from my boss only. See, and whenever I'm talking to him, getting some inputs from him, what could be the challenges at the much higher level from where I am. See, it's always clean and clear. You start going up, the organizational position seats or the chairs will start reducing. CEO chair is only one, right? Functional heads chairs are only one. And you come down, you'll have number of chairs with the same parallel lines, right? So you have to reach out to people. You have to go at people management. You have to go on decision making. You have to put on convincing your own colleagues and that is very, very important. And you have to fight also. It's not like that you are able to make everyone happy. No, it's not possible. And if you are thinking you can do, it's absolutely not right. Because if you start putting your effort in making everyone happy, you will lose. So make your point strong. When you are right and with all facts and figures, people will support you, because at the end, everybody is working towards the organization goal, and everybody wants the organization to win.
Right, right, absolutely. Okay, so shifting lanes a little bit, you have been in the automotive sector for a very long time. If we talk about the next 3 to 5 years, what are the big changes, the development that we expect? I know EV is something everybody talks about. So I would like to hear your thoughts on that. And other than that, what are the other changes that you expect in the sector?
See, what I believe in last 1 or 2 years now, in automobile industry, something, the environment is something like that. Everybody is in the race, and everybody, believe me, and and some, and there are certain companies and organizations and certain leaders also which are into race, but they don't know what they are going to win, but they just want to participate in the race. And the race is all only about of change. Even if you see back, organizations, renowned organizations of automobile industry, which are there in India for last 20-30 years and have maintained a strong base over a period of 30 years, now fighting, and they're so aggressive to change all the experience of 30 years in 1 year only. So they all want to be in EV race, first of all. And if not EV, they have to do something different, because everybody is having this impression that the way we were working earlier will not going to work now. Entire environment is changing, be it EV definitely, or be it digitization. So two front race are happening, and entire industry in these two different race, everybody wants participate and everybody wants to win. So you can see the hell lot of advertisements coming up in the TVs where the traditional IC engine companies are putting up their effort, and they are selling their digitization effort, that you can click your button, the service at the door, you click your button, you'll get service booked. Nowadays you go to workshop, the supervisors are with the laptop and tab. I recently, a few weeks back, I got my vehicle serviced at the workshop, and I have, as you rightly said, I have been into this automobile industry and be into after sales. I know what kind of after sales follow-ups happen from the call centers, what set of questions are there. I just noticed, I realized actually, this time the set of questions were completely different. What were being asked from last 10 or 20 years were what we are telling to the dealership principals and their staff. Whenever the customer goes back, you have to, 10 questions were printed and you need to take what rating he has given. The entire set of questions are changed. Now people are asking whether the supervisor has attended to you with a tab. Was he having the tab? Has he registered his complaint? Did you got the job card online or your phone? Are you able to see your vehicle getting serviced over phone, because there was a WebEx link in my mobile? Things are completely changed. The feedbacks are happening different. So in next 3 or 5 years, a lot of changes are happening on digital front, and EV definitely. Electric vehicles are going to be on front race, and I think we will be living into an entirely new era of automobile industry, and that is why people or industries are putting a lot of money on R&D. And I was speaking, and I was actually attending one seminar on the future of automobile dealership. It was an international seminar, and it clicked also very strongly on me. See, apart from digitization and EV, which is known to us, a certain different environment is getting created around the world, which is metaverse, right? Something related to blockchain. And believe me, there are companies which are planning and have research centers full of software engineers who are well versed with this metaverse technology and the blockchain technology. What they are looking and exploring, see, the input cost of putting up an automobile dealership right now or in a country or somewhere is huge lot of money, right? You need to buy a land, you need to create a structure as per the company VI, then you need to put a manpower and a lot of other things, right? And definitely inventory, because if you're not have different colors in your showroom, you're not able to sell because customer needs variety. That's a psyche of a customer, right? If you're going to buy a motorcycle, even though you have a frame of mind, yes, I need to buy this particular motorcycle, but still at the same showroom, you want to see or check different colors or different features, right? So, and if you're not having, if your dealership is saying, no, I'm not having, sir, so he will start, the customer starts searching for some other dealer, so that at least he can have the choices to make, even though he is going to buy one bike. So that is why the inventory is also a very big input cost for setting up the. So I'm coming back to what companies are looking into automobile metaverse, into metaverse or blockchain technologies, and they are creating a showrooms, a virtual reality showroom, where the plan is something like, or the vision or the thought is something like, there will be a small kiosk at the heart of market, no showroom, no big inventories, nothing. If you want to buy, you just walk into that small kiosk, a sales executive will be there, he will put a VR headset on your head, and on a click of a button, you are inside the showroom. You can see, feel, touch, varieties of colors. So these kind of experiments are happening, not in only on automobiles. There are a lot of explorers are happening. So that is where 3 to 5 years, I see the entire way of selling, buying, or servicing experience of customer is going to change in 360 degrees. So that's my view.
Right. And that's a very interesting point because, the fact that you can have a small kiosk and use technology means that competition is also changing, right? Earlier, the company which had more money, they would be able to spend more money on BTL and experiential and advertising. Now, even the smaller players have an opportunity, right? Because technology is the same for everyone, right? It is not that a bigger company has access to something which the smaller company does not have, which is both a good and a bad thing, because I'm sure the older companies must be feeling very worried because they feel that there is so much more competition that is going to come in. Excellent. Now, yes.
And just to add on, you must have seen in last, I think 2-3 weeks back only, Mahindra has announced their NFTs for Thar.
Right,
So,
I saw that.
So this is all indications, right? So this is all
Right.
indications. The companies, senior people, senior managements are thinking and they are acting on this. Maybe sooner or later, these are coming. These are coming.
Right, right. That's a very good example. And Ankit, to be honest, I'm sure you will agree with me. Most companies do not know how many of these things will succeed, but you have to try. You can't let the competition do it first and you're not doing it. What will happen?
Harish, I just going back because what you said, I mentioned there is a race going on and everybody wants to participate, even though some of them doesn't know for what they are running and what they will achieve after running. So this is what you also said. Everybody want to be in this race.
Correct, correct. Okay, let's go back to after sales. Now, sales, to some extent, all of us understand. As a B school student, you know what the role of a salesperson requires you to do. After sales is not really something you can study in a textbook. Faculties don't really talk about it. A lot of students who I speak to feel after sales also has a sales element in it. But then it's quite different, no? Because this is work that happens behind the scene, post the purchase. So could you just share something about that? What is that function like? What is it interesting about it? How is it different from a regular sales profile?
Right. So see, I believe in one line. I think I always think of this when people ask anything on after sales importance or anything I need to explain to the team. Uh, you can sell a pen to a customer by showing him moon, sun, anything, right? You can promise anything. Sell that particular pen by committing anything, and as a customer, he can obviously first time being a first time buyer, he can buy and want to try. But the same person, will he be able to sell the same pen, same customer twice? Here comes the role of after sales. Now, the salesperson will not able to do that unless and until whatever he has committed got delivered to the first buyer, or else this buyer will not buy your product second time. And there the role of after sales comes in. So repeat customers is a responsibility of after sales department. And this is very much important for the organization or a big size organization who are into service of customers, who wants repeat sales to the clients and to customers. And that is why companies put a lot of efforts in customer satisfactions, right? And after sales is the only nowadays, because technology is so easy to get. Tell me, which company doesn't have the technology? Everyone has, right? And there is nothing hidden. Um, Everybody is capable of. There are a hell lot of good engineers, good university. You can hire, you can pay, you can create the product maybe in a 1 year or 2 year, but you will match the same product what second company is creating. The differentiator now is after sales. So how you are providing the services to the customers, what, how much strong your after sales service network on ground is. The problems will also come. Definitely, these are mechanical or serviceable products. So you have to understand as an, I believe as an organization, everybody has to believe that there will be a problem. And customer also know if there might be a problem. That is why warranties are given into the products, right? So the problem lies if you are not able to solve it and solve it quickly. If you're solving it quickly, definitely your customer base will keep on increasing and the revenues of the organization definitely keep on increasing. And that is where after sales is very, very much important, be it automobile industry or any kind of service industry. And after sales, again, it depends on few major things. Definitely product has to be good. You cannot service a wrong or a, you can say, a default product. There are regular in the any organization, whenever the products came into the market, there are certain kind of reality checks happens when it comes on ground, right? There are certain tests happens in the factory environment, and there are certain tests post launch that happen. So every company having a backup plan, they know there are certain issues may come up, and those get rectified. And till the time there is a time game when the product get launched, some problems got reported, factory need to set up, and there is a time lag, and these time lags need to be managed by after sales guys. And that is where after sales roles or after sales employees play a major role in ensuring whenever the correct products or the correction products are coming, they will manage the customer. So managing the customer, managing the dealer, uh, and again after sales is also having sales, right? There you any organization, if you are into after sales, they will also ask for revenue. After sales is a revenue portfolio. It's not only customer satisfaction. Being a customer satisfaction, you need to generate the revenue. Revenues get generated through spare parts sales. Revenue gets generated through oils, reportings, because workshops. So you will get targets of achieving certain numbers, even though if you are in after sales. So sales are always there. So say, be it sales play a role in manpower management, sales play a role in pure sales, sales play a role in marketing decisions, because what you are going to show customer, because and that inputs came from sales only. And after sales again, you have to sell certain kind of products to ensure the revenues in terms of this.
Right. I remember I was getting my car service. This is many years back. And there was somebody from a market research firm who was doing a survey. So I was waiting at the dealer, and he said, "Sir, I'm from, I don't know, remember Nielsen or some other company." And he gave me like this 10-page form. It had like 150 questions in it. And I'm like, "You expect me to fill this?" I mean, and Ankit, we have done the research bit together. No, very tiny font. The alignment is not correct. The experience as it is, nobody wants to spend time filling it. I
Right.
was very interested because at that time I was in research. So for me, it was about understanding what they are doing, right? But then most customers would not even bother with it. And I think to what you said, the experience is going to change with digitization on these aspects as well. The
Right.
way you engage with the customer, it used to be such a boring process. I mean, I don't think there is any customer who wants to fill up a 5-page form. Also, the customer doesn't want to fill it because he feels what is the company even doing with it?
Right.
See, I would spend 20 minutes or 30 minutes if I feel it is adding value, if I feel that the company is listening to me. In my heart, I also know I will fill up a form. That form will probably disappear. Nobody will even bother reading it.
Right.
So one is gamification to make it more interactive and more exciting. The other is to give feedback. I hate it when a company would get a form filled and they would not even tell me what they did with it. Even if you tell me in one sentence that, we are going to use it to improve this or that, I like that validation. So speaking more from the analytics side of it, which would also be my next question, I think everything ties together. No, salespeople or after sales doesn't mean that you just focus on selling and consumer behavior and talking to people and building relationships. You have to understand how technology is going to empower you. It's going to make you more powerful. So my next question is about analytics. So as a firm, and you can also talk about the previous organizations that you have worked with, what type of tools are being used? Students always ask me, should we learn Excel or should we skip it and should we learn Power BI and Tableau? And I tell them you can't skip Excel and jump to Power BI. Power BI can only work well if you know how to work with data. If you don't even have the data, you can have the best, most expensive tool in the world, but you will not know what to do with it. So just your thoughts on that.
So I'm starting with this. When you said or mentioned that whether I skip Excel and just jump to Power Tableau, just want to share one thing. Whenever I'm interviewing any position now, my favorite question in terms of Excel is, do you know VLOOKUP? Right, and that's a basic question because I believe this has to have, you must know. You can't say ki, I don't know, because how can I ask you to give me a certain filtered data? So that is very much important. Basic of VLOOKUP, SLOOKUP, and all these are Excel for anyone who are into any kind of job. Believe me, this is an ask. You're not able to answer any query of your superiors or your colleagues. You will not add any input if you're not able to manage data. Hell lot of, and this becomes tougher and tougher when you are rising up in the ladder, because the expectations of the senior management will go always key. You need to just give me an input because they don't have time. They'll not come back to you and see Excel and they do calculation of this. It's just one input. Boss, कहाँ percentage drop हो रहा है, किस product को आगे बढ़ाना है, कहाँ पे नीचे, कहाँ पे cost क्या चल रही है. So these all comes from data analysis, and believe me, in my current organization also, it's a big challenge for me. Every day I'm putting a lot of time in aligning my teammates to churn out good data. Even Havish, we reach out to you also to help us in this some time back, and that's a problem, and I believe this problem is everywhere with every organization. So basic Excel has to be there, but basic Excel will not help you anymore. It's a very basic, that is why it's basic Excel. There are advanced tools, that is Tableau, PI, which make your job much easier and reduce your engagement on just putting up and managing the data. Help, because, well, I personally don't do much on this, because but there is a team which is working day and night on specific. There is a set of team members which we call the MIS team, right? So this MIS team is there. I think it's every organization in every industry, and these 4-5 people are coming and they are putting hell lot of their time only in this Excel just to churn out different data because we deal into different clients. Every clients have their own ask, right? I'm serving to, I think we are serving as an organization to 70 to 80% of auto OEMs as of right now in Allianz part. And every organization or every client have their specific requirement. You have data set in a single sheet and you need to make it meaningful for in a different way altogether for every client. So these are very much important. Whatever the advanced tools are available, I think if you are having an alignment of going into data analytics, definitely that is required. But on a general rule, data is required, and you must know how to manage data, because without data, you are blind. You're not able to find out and lead your team. Even I'm not able to lead my team. Sometimes what happens, I'm cross questioning why you guys are not doing this, why you're not achieving this. The people are very good and in defending their performances, right? And they start saying this problem, that problem, and if you are not having data, you'll not ask questions and you'll not get proper answer also. If you have data, you know, you have the right question, you have the right answer, and you can fix the gaps also. Very much important and a big challenge for me to manage this. I think I need to have a separate course. I still believe I have to go into certain kind of courses where advanced Excel courses where I need not to depend on certain things to the team only, because I want certain kind of analysis to be done on a quick basis, sometimes at my home, sometimes somewhere outside, not to be 100% dependent every time team. So that's my need. I think I'll definitely take out some time and must get enrolled in certain kind of advanced Excel. I tried, but somehow not able to manage the time. But that's a gap. I feel I need to upkeep my skills on this.
Right. So we spoke about your international experience. So before we come to the final question, which is your advice to B school students, can you also share with us what has been different, when you have worked internationally in different markets? What has been the different type of learning that you have had that working in India would not have given you?
I think slight alteration. Definitely, India will give the experience, but it may have taken a lot of time. International exposure made me or pushed me to learn, experience hell lot of things, which might have taken long time here back in India. Because why I'm saying this, when I was handling the assignment of international business, I'm the single representative in that country for the organization, right? Here I have people, my own colleague, my juniors, my seniors, everybody sitting here in my office, and I can learn, experience, take guidance. But when you are in an international company, is not sending 10 people with you. They will be sending, because I was handling a position of a country manager. So I'm a manager of the country at that time, right? My company is not sending 10 people with me. I'm all alone flying and going and into a completely entire different environment, the different language people, different set of management. I need to represent the entire organization and need to push the entire SOP, standard process, everything, business of the organization. And I was all alone. So this has pushed me a lot to learn, to think differently, to deliver. Because if you are having a certain position or you're having responsibility, you need to deliver, right? You can't be underperformer. Nobody wants to be. So it pushed me to learn, experience, took decisions, sometimes by my own, because certain quick decisions need to be there, taken on ground. Although I was in touch with my bosses, but still, you are the front face runner, right? So this has actually given me an exposure to set up the entire after sales. That, for example, setting up the workshop network, identifying the dealer network there in different country, speaking to different people, setting up the entire logistic supply chain environment, spare part business, trainings, recruitment of manpower, HR policies, uh, then warranty policies, then service policies, understanding the local government taxes, laws, uh, and this actually within that 4 or 5 years of international exposure has made me a man. And that is why when I came back in India, when I was introducing myself, I said within a 5-6 months, I switched my job. I was finding missing because I was so engaged in international assignment of taking decisions, meeting different people. You believe me, there are set of different department people waiting for me to have a discussion. There are warranty team there, trading team there, sales team there, service team there, and then logistics team there, assembly plant. We put assembly plant there, CKD. I was not into plant any time. It was a completely learning experience for me because I was into the field. I never worked in manufacturing plant. But there, being all alone, I was given the responsibility to coordinate and set up a semi-knockdown or completely knockdown assembly plant. And going into final inspection, qualities, all learning. So it was great. And then when I came back in very small time, I found myself missing because the responsibilities were very less. Although I came back with this salary hike and everything, no negotiation on that part. But somehow, see, salaries also need to be compensated with the roles and responsibilities and the acknowledgement, right? You're getting a salary increments and increment, but you're not able to prove yourself, you're not able to deliver yourself, you're not able to create people who knows you, who respect you, who see you as a leader. So I think I'm not the that kind of person. I definitely want a balance on both the things. So somehow I was missing this, and that's why I took over for a bigger responsibility. Goes on. So international experience was good. That is what India may have given me definitely learning experience, but international within that short span, lot of things to learn.
Right. Okay, so the final question, what would be your advice to college students who will be starting out their career in another 1 or 2 years?
I think first job is not to be think of much. Don't get tense. The first job is to be the job to celebrate, right? To learn. So, and to make the right choice. Just don't opt for anything because first job also equally important to, because it's a platform. As I said, when you are stepping a first step out of your college, you are actually started learning. You are on the very first stage of real hard fact world of professional life. So first, whatever the experience and learning you're going to have in your first job will work and create a base for your second job, and then to third, and then to fourth. So first job need to be celebrated. I strongly believe, I never feel that I have been into a small company or a small job in earlier days. Although later on I started comparing the roles and responsibility, but from the very first date I was feeling like I'm the king. My first job. So at that time the salaries were quite less for me. But I feel the intensity of the word of less, I realize now only because after a certain age. But at that moment, now I was happy, very happy. Never feel like, yes, there was a fire, always, it's still there to grow, do much more bigger things, to get recognitions. But first job has to be celebrated. Celebrated in terms of you must celebrate with the family, friends, that you are doing a certain job. Feel proud of it. Do whatever best you can do. Learn and prepare yourself for the next move. Again, preparing for next move is very, very important. Sometimes what happens, people get lost with first job. They start thinking like, yes, this is this is the way I want. So it depends on the personal thinking also. But I believe you need to keep preparing yourself for your next move. And that is how I advise all the students to enjoy the first job, make a first right move, first of all. And when you have already taken a move, start enjoying it, feel proud, tell everyone what you are doing, and what best you can do to the organization, and prepare yourself for the next.
Right. Thank you so much, Ankit, for sharing all the insights. I'm sure the students will find it very helpful.
My pleasure, and thank you, Havish. And it's nice catching up you. And just before we end up, I still remember our first meeting in Hero Motocorp itself. Yeah.
Yes.
And you got assigned some one international project for us.
Right.
We done some market research there. So
yes,
from that day, being years, and good to have you and speaking on this platform. Thank you for this, Havish. Thank you.
thank you, Ankit.